Hi, welcome to Elements. I am your host, Soweto Bosia. Now, Elements is where we cover, hip hop and stuff and other things around Earth. And by Earth, I mean America. So get that straight for one. All right, so this is our first episode, the inaugural episode. So we're going to work out a few kinks. Yes, my paper is wrinkled, but don't let that distract you. We're going to cover a lot of things today. This will be a really fun show, and hopefully you'll come back and watch us. So let's start off with Yay News. And I don't mean Yay News. You know, the artist formerly known as Kanye West is in the news. So Ye says his next album, Bully, will have an anti-Semitic sound with I'm sure, a bipolar flow and with a sprinkle of misogyny. Now, Ye posted this KKK uniform on his Instagram, which was later taken down. Now, some people feel he should be ashamed for what he did, but others feel he's just a proud boy. Now, Ye knows no matter what he does, he's going to have the brotherhood behind him. The Aryan Brotherhood. Amazing. In other news, Jim Jones has challenged Cameron to a boxing match, 50 Cent to a versus, and Lord Jamar to a flat earth debate. Yo, I'm telling you, the world is round, you smell me? Like a ball. I really wanted to work in balling in some kind of way with that, but it really made no sense. But I can still say ballin'. It made no sense, but I'm still go with it. Jadakiss said in an interview recently, he says, we don't need 53 more not like us's. I couldn't agree more, said Drake. R. Kelly was recently being interviewed on a podcast where he said that he has about 25 albums. You can listen to those songs on NPR's Tiny Cell. Marco Rubio and co-president Elon Musk got into a little spat in the Oval Office. When reached out for comment, Marco Rubio said, I have no words for that African booty scratcher. Some people didn't know that Elon's from South Africa. That's why, anywho. In other news, King Donald Trump has renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And pretty soon, he's going to rename Canada East Alaska. Now, to my Canadian friends, you're going to love being a part of America. We're going to toughen you guys up, get you a little more racist. You need that in you. In sports, Stephen A. Smith got a lucrative contract from ESPN worth, some say, $100 million, but it was later dwarfed by a little spat that he had on courtside where he came hairline to hairline with LeBron James during a Lakers-Knicks game. Now, Stephen A. Smith, and the A apparently is for apology, seen here dressed as a Pepto-Bismol bottle, apologized for talking smack about LeBron's son, Bronny. Now, all he said was Bronny is averaging like 0 points and 0 rebounds and 0 assists. And LeBron didn't take too kindly to that and said, keep my son's name out of whatever. Now, had that been me, had that been your boy, LeBron wouldn't have done all that to me, because the first thing I would have done when LeBron came up to me is I would have farted. That's right, you heard me. I would have farted right in his face, because I would have been scared, obviously, because LeBron's like 6'8", 250 pounds. He would have started off big and bad, but then would have quickly walked away. Cause I mean, he was in LA. I would have definitely been eating like a bean burrito or something before the game. So watch yourself, Bronny. I might not look that big, but I'm actually like 5'8" in heels. In other news, Josh Allen got a 6-year, $330 million contract with the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately for him, he has to spend 6 years in Buffalo. And I think that is all for the news. Now, up next is my interview with graffiti artist X-Men, who are a legend in Chicago. But before we go to that, we have a little dance break with a gentleman called Sway Boy and them. And I think he's asleep and drunk.
No, I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't sleep. No, I'm not drunk. No, this is just tea. No, it's just extra strong tea. Oh, fine, I'll put it.
This is ridiculous. On the first episode, he's gonna do this.
I don't know why you think I'm...
Smooth as Luther Vandross down in St. Andrews. Shower on the yacht while we popping the pop smoke. Somebody tell immigration them cases is wardrobe. Succulent juices, we sipping juices in Bordeaux. Never losing my memories of farmers in Ogo. Before check out the melody, his neck was a light show. That's light dough. Always gotta come with the right flow. We like dough. Learn that from Chuck Rich and Alpo. Uptown so. Now we out here running with Billy Goat. It's natural. Speed game on the seaplane. Now the blue faces matching the deep waves. Shorty took the pick so no one see things. Now she hopping out the Range Rover in PJs. Louis frames ain't new to game. She true to game. Ain't doing lanes. If opportunity knock, we bet you do the same. Teamwork make the dream work. Review the game. We just call it like we see it. It's up to you to name. You complain that your team is cold. Rewind the time, turn it back into Panthers. We eat a goat. Unbelievable, but the goal is achievable. Y'all ain't the only one getting it, boy. We scheming too. Speeding through 2-seater coupe. We ain't part of Illuminati. We just the realest crew. We dream too. That's how Madonna got smashed by Peter Shoe.
I was wondering, the force got locked out. The force got locked out. The force got locked out. The force didn't really feel like.
Chefs in the kitchen while we out fly fishing. Water so clear you can see the fish fishing. Combos on the speedboat, just listen. She surfing for the working in the signature edition. BBS the depth cause we understood the mission. Now we sky dwelling, rebelling against the system. Bad boys before P. Diddy and the Pistons. Doing better numbers than Harvard mathematicians. Forest Boulevard, cooling 9 double bar. Wanna eat with them paper plates, she got a house of smart. Someone caught a bullet, they ain't talking about the charge. Inspiration for my soldiers walking in the yard. Hoping seas at high speed, floating like a guard. Feel a breeze, sip Chablis, bust open a cigar. Overtime, her tan lines look like a work of art. Not a hump, but she pop-ups and hot tubs. And she loved to lay on plush rugs for foot rubs. So what's up? You feeling the force, we got plugs. Put you on the power, plug you in and light you up, bruh. It take a team to get a chip. Medallion swinging money machines in the whip. If you want a bankroll, follow the code, don't slip. You can't get frustrated, king, we don't quit. Getting money is automatic, that's why we drop sticks. If we wasn't doing this, it'd be 99 bricks. So we glad we on the yacht with the force and doing some real shit.
Well, X-Men is a crew that started in New York in late 70s, early 80s.
I would say about 79, 80.
79. Our president, Tattoo, was a Brooklyn crew. And, you know, they were pretty prolific. They were also like, they had DJs, they had a party crew. It it was a lot more
Hip hop-ish, right?
members, yeah, at that time out there. I wasn't living out there. Who brought it from New York was Parker Lee, P. Lee Williams, DJ P. Lee Fresh. Moved from New York to Chicago in like '84, and he was in a crew, TCP, the Crowd Pleasers, but he only wanted other New Yorkers in it. So like Chicagoans wanted to get down with them, but he was like, nah,
We always got animosity.
I live in
New
your
York and
city, but
Chicago
yeah. It
over the
was just
years.
like that little attitude. And then, because I think also Peely went through a lot of culture shock with the gang culture here. Then he was in Uptown. There was a few other members of TCP, but it was
Maybe like Case, maybe was that
Peely
one?
and Akbar and a couple
Akbar
other,
for sure.
other
You know.
dudes. He charged Heckle
He put Heck down back in the day, though, right?
with X-Men to build it up into a big crew. And Heckle loved that, and he ran with it and made it into largest, longest running graffiti crew in Chicago. It's been mad deep since the early 80s here. X-Men was not my first crew that I rolled with. I first got down with the Hash crew in Chicago in the early 90s. And then there was only a few women that were actively writing, you know, beyond just because their boyfriend did it, or
Yeah.
that where graffiti was their main element.
You
Because
gotta
there's other,
say-
like Ange 13, she has hand styles, she's a writer, but she's an MC first. So other people have their elements that they flex in more. So there was a handful of women that was their element. And
But you definitely one of the first women in Chicago to be as down as you are and to be like into it as real as you are. I don't know if real is the right word, but you know, respected as a graffiti writer from men, if I'm catching it. But you get it in, and people know that you really do what you do. And then sometimes you got men and women writers that, you know, they don't do all the aspects of graffiti as far as illegal graffiti and permission walls and traveling and bombing, and you know, you're a real vandal. Put it that way.
yeah. I
Put
mean,
it that way. And you got to be a real vandal to be in X-Men crew, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. You can't just be somebody that paints dope, nice murals and stuff like that. You also had to be a vandal and get up, tag, and do other forms of graffiti other than just, you know, the permission wall stuff.
I want to talk about your style. So when I noticed, I'm not a graffiti artist, but what I noticed specifically about your style is yours is like organic, where you have leaves and things in your artwork. And then Graffiti Nerds is like you have to look and try to read the actual letters that you write. Like, explain you guys' different style.
as a bomber, I had like basic letters, and then for a while, I tried to be real fancy and like without the discipline, go into some letter styles that I thought I could just do, and my stuff got real complicated and looked like maps. And I mean, I like that style too. I was experimenting, but in order for me to really develop, I had to take it back and simplify my style. And then I was kind of doing old school stuff, fills that I really love. I really love blends and mists and bubbles, and Nerd does that a lot too. But doing that after a while, what was it? I think it was because I was painting with women, and I really got to, when you get to a point that you're doing work in graph, it's so, there's so many classic style writing rules, but you have to master those before you break them, so
Right.
to speak.
That's great point.
Right? So it takes a while of you just honing those skills and learning those rules, and then kind of veering off and going back to those rules before you can really just shatter it and make it your own. My letter style is still very basic. My fills came into my own because I started saying, well, what do I bring to the table? What is my flavor? What is my perspective? And I grew up around like this floral motif. It's almost like a folk, I don't want to be diminutive, but it's an art form from Costa Rica, because my mother's from Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
So it has this real basic floral, kind of embroidery type like style. and
Yeah.
patterns and very Central American floral. And I started experimenting with that, and people loved it. I mean, old people love it.
Yeah.
My crew
It
was like,
crosses
"Oh, we
line-
like
it
that shit,
crosses, it
Steph."
crosses, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I would say my stuff is the plants, and then his stuff is the stuff after you smoke the plant.
True.
Right. Right. I
Which
feel like
can't-
Love that.
Yeah.
that's
So-
what I notice about you too. So like yours feels organic, where it's like floral and like earthy, and it has the femininity. It has a femininity to it, I think. And then yours is hard edge, like super. I don't know. Like when I first saw yours, you were asking me, "Can I see like the different letters?" And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like you have to like stare at yours for like a long time before you can realize where the actual graffiti nerd is written and how
Yeah.
it's written.
Well,
So explain
basically-
how your style came about.
You know, I've been doing graffiti over I think I'm like 37, 38 years. So my style changed throughout the decades. But growing up, I had a couple people that showed me some styles. And traditional, as a young person doing graffiti and learning, you would have somebody that teaches you and would show a younger person how to do letters. So in the beginning, I learned that way. But once I learned the basics and the outline and like you said, the rules that we stick by, once I learned that and I was great at that, I had to show that I was going to do something creative that I made up by myself. So I would like the styles that I've been doing lately is actually I would take like all 4 or 5 decades of different, I call them decades, but it's like 6 or 7 years, styles changed up for me. I would add them all in there and I would call it like the 5th dimension. So I'd have stuff looking old school, like the 70s, 80s graffiti, 90s graffiti, 2000s graffiti. But when you look at it, it's looking like you're into the future and it's dimensional. So when you see mine, I want you to look into it kind of deep and it takes you further in. And also as we growing up, we wasn't allowed just to do my name Nerd real simple and readable because everybody would know it was you. We had to do it camouflage. That's why I would like look into it. The real true meaning of wild style to me, my definition, is to do a piece of your name that your name is in there, but it's camouflaged. It's in a style that only graffiti writers could kind of get the definition and see it, you know. And actually, like it took years for my dad, which he's 80 years old. I taught him how to read it. Now he could actually, you know, I'll be like, "What's this say?" And he'll be pretty close, or he'll know what it says, you know. So to understand the graffiti styles and understand how to actually read our writing and our culture.
Tell me how you got into X-Men.
I got into X-Men through Heckle and Page, and growing up, to me, they were like a bigger crew that I kind of, you know, I always looked up to them like great crew, and they had members like Teasel, and they did, and he took me on as a student for a little while, showed me a lot, but I never thought about actually joining X-Men crew because I had too much of my own thing going on. And I kicked off, you know, I was in a crew called Poor Crew, and I was more into like the younger guys coming up with me. But as I got older, those guys that I always looked up to, and they always, you know, were cool with me when I was a kid, they said, "Man, you should start representing X-Men." And it was at a point in time when X-Men was kind of low-key falling off. You know, a lot of people wasn't painting too much, and we didn't have a lot of younger members. I wasn't even young. And they was getting me in, and then when they brought me in, our objective was, let's start pulling in some of these younger writers, these new guys that are gonna kill it, just like we do today with our young writers that are out there doing mad damage, you know. And it kind of kept the tradition right then and there is when it started. In the beginning, I think they liked it keeping it X-Men as the original guys. But then they're like, we gotta build and we gotta keep this legacy going. But they gotta be legit writers, and they gotta be male or female. They gotta be dope, and they gotta be bombers, and they gotta be also pieces. They could start off as bombers, but we want them doing both. Growing up in Chicago, you know, and I'm just being 100% truthful, there was kind of like a divide between hip hop and house music.
Yeah.
Clash. So they used to be like, if you're hip hop, you're broke, you're a bum, you wear baggy clothes, you dancing on cardboard. When your house, you had dope gear, jabos, and Zodiac shoes and your hair looking good and spinning around, blowing out, you know, confetti or something on the dance floor. So it was the big difference. And that's me talking shit as a house head. I'm into house music and I love house music, and it almost comes together, but you know, that's where it goes as a label, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody we grew up with, you know, with hip hop or house, but when you look at it now, hip hop is so big, everybody's just claiming hip hop, you know,
Yeah.
in the same sense, you know. It's wild. It's just something in Chicago how it's different than other cities. It might be a little same in New York. They might have had that house. I mean, they had their house music.
Oh, they
and
love house there.
And I'm saying going against hip hop, I don't know. But
Yeah.
we used to have flyers talking shit about house DJs.
Yeah, you
and
couldn't go
house
in.
DJs talking shit
Pick
about
one.
Oh,
hip
really?
hoppers.
Yeah.
You couldn't wear baggy jeans to the club or tennis shoes. You had to wear real, you know, to go to a house party. So, you know, you don't hear about that a lot. So I like bringing it up because I was on both sides. And at the time, a lot of dope, super original graffiti writers that were like people I looked up to were great writers. They quit. They quit doing graffiti and they gave up for a while. And they, you know, not saying they went to house music and all that. It just kind of died out again. But then the griminess and the undergroundness and the bombing kept that graffiti going. And then it started growing back up again. Like the 90s, they tried to say graffiti was gone from like 85 to like 90, 91, 92. But then late 90s, it started getting bigger and bigger. And then, of course, with the internet, it blew up again.
Yeah.
Super big, yep.
Yeah, I love that about Chicago flavor is that we've incorporated. I mean, when I got here in '90, I saw breakers in Jabos and
Yeah.
like, you know, flexing, you know, dad crew.
Flexing,
like, yeah.
flexing was like a gap in between hip hop
Yeah.
and house.
We
I
had
don't know
our
if you
own
know the term
Chicago.
No.
It's
Yeah.
like a dance thing where they're coming in and like she said, they're wearing jabos.
Oh,
and
okay.
you know, they're kind of up rocking. It's kind of hard to describe, but we had some great dancers that flexed. You don't never hear about that.
Yeah,
shit anymore either.
back then you only heard hip hop coming out of cars that were people. You had to be committed to hip hop to bump it out of your car.
Yeah.
Beyond like Rakim or like Big Daddy Kane or something
Like,
like.
wasn't no radio stations
There
playing
was no
hip-hop.
radio stations playing it. It was before WGCI. They had rap radio,
Played on
958
AM for a
AM
little bit later,
station,
came on AM.
college stations. It was underground here.
Yeah,
you could
HBK.
only go to hip hop nights on a Tuesday night, maybe a Monday night, Blue Groove Lounge, Sunday night, $3 hip hop, lower links.
Lower links.
But you could only go to hip hop on certain nights or special events that had to be organized. It was strictly underground here.
And when I DJ'd when I was younger and in the 90s, I threw parties and I would try to incorporate hip hop. So it'd be all house music for like 40 minutes and then I'd play like one song, Cypress Hill, something that's bumping, or gotta be bumping, and then you gotta go right back to house music. It took a long time for like parties to actually be like, or clubs or bars. Now it's a lot of bars that play hip hop and stuff like that. But before bars was like, no, we ain't playing no hip hop over here. But over the years it picked up and a few bars were down right here and there, a few spots, you know. But they were
Tuesday.
pioneers. They were pioneers.
on a Tuesday, they'll
On a
give you a
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
you know,
But that was
Sub T or
cool because
something.
it kept it pure.
Sub T, whatever night they had, you know, a lot of people got their open mic hip hop nights, and they've been doing it for 25 years. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's cool to be at my age where I seen it changed, and people used to talk a lot of shit about me, like, "Oh, you're a bum, you're hip hop," you know.
Well, yeah, that. But also, hip hop heads were closed-minded here because you couldn't play a house record, even though
That's
you loved the
true.
fuck out of that
Exactly.
house record.
You
And
was
you
either
wanted to
one or
hear
the
that
other.
jam, and you didn't mind going to house parties because you danced there too. But you couldn't do that at a hip hop party here.
Yeah.
Well, you could do it in New York. You could put on a house record
Yeah.
at a hip hop
And-
party
and
in New
New
York.
Yorkers used to have house versions of their hip hop though.
Yeah.
I used to love
I'll
that
house
shit too.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll house you.
Yeah.
I remember that. yeah.
EPMD would have a fast house track. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm from the South, so
Club mixer, call it, or some shit. Yeah. Where you from?
I'm from Atlanta, but I used to
Okay, yeah.
live in Alabama. But the difference there was, I think all around the South, it was hip hop was embraced, but it was more DJ-ish. So like it was more dance music. So like booty shake basically.
Yeah.
2 Live Crew, And then there was like smaller groups and stuff around the South, but like those were like the music that you'd hear in clubs mostly. And like
that's like
New York
almost
hip hop
the gap, that gap between house and hip hop too.
Yeah.
Them groups, you know.
Yeah.
They were
You could
faster
play
hip-hop,
Two Live at a
mad
house,
bass.
at a
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
or
you could.
That could kind of
Yeah.
go both ways.
Yeah,
I'm
Two
saying,
Live
I was
Crew,
in
yeah,
there.
that's just
Yeah.
dance music. Like you
Yeah.
have, yeah, this is easy to dance to.
Yeah.
A bit raunchy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was that bass, but you
Hey.
could have more, that was influenced more by house, I would say.
Yeah.
in
And
a way.
Miami bass house.
Miami bass, yeah.
House.
In the
basically.
South, it was like, yeah, everybody had to have a car with a lot of bass in it. Like that was like the main thing in the South. Like
Yeah.
there was more driving around music
And
that we had.
they had stations with just bass tones there.
Yeah. Well, and in the South, what was weird was they wouldn't play hip hop music until after like 7 o'clock. Like even they would have like
that makes sense too. Yeah,
yeah, they would have songs like so like you could they would play like TLC, and when Left Eye's version, they wouldn't play the
They
rap.
chop that. I
They
hate
would
that,
take that
yeah.
off, and they would only play the singing version. And then after 7 o'clock, that's when they would start.
Hey, that's so
allowing it.
wild. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy to think now. Like nobody would think that they would do that, but yeah.
And then for a
Yeah.
while, they always would chop off certain words. It might not even be a cuss word.
Right.
And they would chop it. I'm like, why they chop that off?
Right.
'Cause they had no idea what it meant or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's terrible, you know?
All right.
Censorship of it. Yep.
All right, so now we've reached trivia time.
Oh, snap.
All right.
All right.
So this trivia
this.
is about music videos.
Okay.
All right. So first question. Why didn't LL Cool J have a rap video for his first album, Radio? Is it A, Def Jam didn't have enough money to make a video for him? B, he overslept? Or C, LL thought music videos were too pop?
Man, that's you asked the question. That I thought I would know everything you asked me.
I would say A at the time because, I mean, I don't think he thought it. LL loves to see himself, so I wouldn't
I mean,
say
how
that
old was
he
he?
wouldn't.
14? Was he?
Yeah, like
14?
16.
14?
I mean, maybe Def Jam didn't have. No, Def Jam had money.
I mean,
They
I think
were-
he wrote Run DMC's album at the time too. Didn't he write Run DMC's
Maybe he-
album?
No, he didn't. I don't know if he wrote
He
it.
might have overslept, but I would say A. Maybe Def Jam. I don't know.
I'm
It's
gonna
either
say
A or B.
I'm gonna say overslept. He couldn't take
Graffiti
that Kango
nerd
off.
is right.
Okay.
He
okay.
overslept.
He had the Kango on.
Yeah.
I sleep with
okay.
my Kango on too.
Yeah. He got that love he needed, I guess.
Right. All right, here's another one.
All right.
Guys, remember Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, iconic song, The Message. All right. So the video shows them like pose in different areas around New York. Okay, why was that video shot that way? Is it A, that was the director's vision? B, because they were posing with their outfits to show the director where they wanted to shoot the video? Or C, that's how videos were made back in the early 80s for hip hop?
The outfits.
I'm gonna say the outfits too, but I was gonna say because there's broken glass everywhere.
You're right. It was the outfits. So originally, they were trying to show the directors where they wanted to shoot, and they were posing. And then they went to the director and everybody and was like, yeah, so that's where we're going to shoot. And they were like, yeah, we already put the video together. That's how it is.
The
So,
outfits were so cold
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Had
when,
to be.
that's when R&B, hip hop was still, it hadn't quite
That makes sense.
diverged or whatever. Okay, final question. All right, you guys remember Run DMC's cover of Walk This Way with Aerosmith? In that music video, they have a little concert scene with both of them.
Uh huh.
All right. So the director wanted to show, both rock and rap audience together.
I love.
But
how
when
he
they
did it,
got
too.
there was only one group there. All right. So why was there only one group? Was it A, the white fans were afraid when they saw the black rapper, audience there and just stayed in their cars? B, the black fans came there late because black people are late all the time? Or C, the rap fans were confused when they saw all those white rock fans out there. And just FYI, if you choose the wrong one, then you're automatically racist. But go ahead, answer.
Oh shit!
Okay.
I was gonna say C, but I thought maybe because the white band was out in the parking lot getting high.
What do you think?
Maybe all three. But I would say, wait, only one band was there?
Only one group of fans were there.
One group of fans.
One group of fans, either the Aerosmith fans or the Run DMC fans.
I'm trying to remember the video.
I remember the video. It kicked up. They were in the
kinda-
studio.
Yeah.
It kicked
Well,
in.
it was a
came in.
studio.
Yeah, and then at the end they were on stage and the fans and stuff.
Maybe C.
Also-
I kind of remember it being a white crowd, right? Or am I
I
wrong?
can't remember though. Yeah,
You know,
it was
It
all,
was-
all white crowd though.
because it got more live when Steven Tyler came
Yeah,
on.
it
You
did.
know, it was like,
Yeah.
I thought they were going to bring him on stage anyway.
Oh, at the
The anniversary, the 50th anniversary.
That's what I thought too.
They, you
I
know,
was
Run
watching
DMC
that,
didn't
man.
go on until 2 a.m.
Man, no wonder.
Oh,
They
wow.
went on at 2 a.m. But anyway,
yeah, it was the white fans stayed in their cars because they saw the
They were scared.
yeah. So the director was like, "Where's everybody else?" And they
I
were
don't
like,
even see. I don't really remember the crowd. I was.
Yeah, I barely remember. I mainly remembered like Run DMC kicking the door. Yeah, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That was a fun video. Actually,
Hey, that was a great crossover though to actually white people to actually just even see hip
Right.
hop because, I mean, I guess I've just been blessed for some reason that I always been around hip hop since
Yeah.
I was a kid, but a lot of people probably started getting into that from that, and you know,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
remember like the white gangs around my neighborhood playing that and playing the Beastie Boys, and I'm like, damn, I never heard these white motherfuckers playing rap, you know,
Wow.
so it was. You know, that was groundbreaking. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, they
in its
actually
way.
broke a wall with
Yeah,
that
They did.
video.
That's
They
why I
did.
love the video too. It's like
Yeah.
it was groundbreaking. They broke the wall. They broke down the barrier. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? For us to come together, hip hop and rock. And
Yeah.
other bands have tried it over the year. Like Cypress Hill is pretty good
Yeah.
at pulling it. There's a couple bands that are great at it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you know about Body Count. I'm a
oh
big
yeah,
Body Count guy.
with Ice.
With Ice, yeah. Them
Yeah.
rock and rollers go crazy. They go
Yeah.
hard, you know. So,
Yeah, I think hip hop and rock and roll are both like disruptive
Yeah.
type of music, but I think hip hop, what makes hip hop cool is hip hop can pull from any genre and just
Yeah.
throw it in, and you can just make a new kind of sound with it.
That's true. They can
Yeah.
sample any type of beat or
Right.
remix it and
Yeah.
flip it. Yep.
Any-
Who won that?
any-
You did.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't- I
I didn't know
would-
none of that though. I thought you was gonna ask me
My-
like 30 things I
shoot.
knew.
That was my interview with X-Men. Now, on the show, we made fun of Kanye for his anti-Semitic remarks. I will like to say, I want to show a little balance on this show. So I would like to leave you with a little video of Kanye of probably one of the most powerful things that Kanye has ever done for the black community.
And the owners of the record labels, and we're going to put them all in one room, and we're going to read let's go top 10 in each one of these categories, right? Let's read Michael B. Jordan's
Okay, but why would
contract.
any of that-
Let's
okay,
read
but
Aaron
why would any
Donald's
of that- why would any of that-
Bro, I ain't finished. I ain't finished my sentence.
Nothing
I didn't
you're-
finish
nothing
my
you're saying
brilliant
has
idea.
anything to do
Hey,
with
boy,
regret.
Hey, boy.
Don't call
hey,
me boy. Don't call
Hey,
me
boy.
boy.
Ye made a white man say, "Don't call me boy." Not only not regular white, but British white. That's some powerful shit. I'm proud of you, Ye. At least for that. All this other mess, you gotta chill. You can't with the KKK. And with the anti-Semitism, it's ridiculous. Like, you're from Chicago. You're from right here in Chicago. You can't like hook up with Farrakhan or something. You got to go with the white folks. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if it's the LA thing. I don't know. But I'm gonna just blame it on the bipolar and give you a pass. But you got to chill on the KKK and the Nazi Hitler stuff. because I don't know if you know this, but Nazis weren't too fond of the blacks. Nor were the KKK. Now, if you enjoyed the show, I want you to ring that bell and hit a like, and I want you to subscribe, because when you do that, you support the show, and when you support the show, you give us something. I don't know. It does something with the algorithm. We always want to like be beholden to the algorithm. So that's the thing that can help us. Join us next week for another episode of Elements. I am your host, Soweto Bosia, and I want you to have a great day.